Hey Sky, what's up? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you were perfect. I heard you the whole time, but you couldn't hear me, so I went out and came back in.
Okay. No, I had to turn my speaker off. That's what I was saying right before you came off. But anyway, we are live. It doesn't look like there's anyone else online right now, but we could still move forward with our discussion.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we can put forth information, things that came up, and those that will watch it later, they'll grab some nuggets of, information. So that's cool. So how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I slept really hard. Like I literally woke up and I literally went to sleep and woke up. I didn't have any type of wake up in the middle of the night at all. Like I slept straight through to 7:30 a.m. and it was pretty deep. It was pretty restful. So, what about you?
You're describing my sleep. And
Gotcha.
that normally doesn't happen to me, even well, especially when I'm not fasting. I mean, you can forget about that. I'm a restless sleeper. I'm a light sleeper. I sleep, but I don't rest. So a lot of times during the day, I'm exhausted. But I actually slept like a baby. Like you, I went right to sleep, and I woke right and around time on something, and I felt good, refreshed, so like I could go and run a marathon, right? And plus I don't have to. I didn't get a call to work this morning, so that's pretty. Much as I need work, obviously, to support myself. At the end of the day, it's good to know that I could just, relax today, get my fat, get rest, play a meditate a lot. This is going to be a great day. Great day.
Awesome, awesome. I had posted a link in the email this morning, and I'm going to try to do that every time I do the emails to find different articles that people can read about water fasting because I feel that during this journey, folks need to be educating themselves. They need to look up information. They need to look at videos on YouTube. They need to look up articles. They need to look up books so that by the time they finish fasting, they are a master faster. Ooh, that rhymes.
Ow.
And that's how you learn. That's how you learn what fasting is all about and how it's really beneficial to you. So,
I,
you agree?
oh yeah. And I saw that you were posting a lot of things on the Wellness Guys online wellness center. Anyone watching this, anyone that views this should go there on their if you have Facebook, you should go to Skies on Wellness Center and try to become either a member or I mean, what are you also doing? Are you doing Sky? What are your Facebook pages for the public to have?
Oh, just my Sky Juice page is the public page. Only
Sky
one.
Juice.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's SKAI and then Juice.
Yes.
Trust me, you will find a plethora of resources of uh, raw vegan food, of nutritionals, and of information because education is power. So if you're going to be fasting, you should have, like Sky is saying, you should have a lot of information and it'll keep you in that fasting mode. I know what does it for me. What does it for me, like you said, is I'm constantly looking at videos about fasting. You know, I'm constantly reading stuff about fasting and about water, like the many wonders of water. You know,
Yes.
I read many. I'm reading. You know, maybe later I'll show it. I don't want to get up now, but I have a few books that I'm reading. You know, about water as I'm fasting and learning about the many wonders and the healing properties of water. There's a doctor named Doctor Batmanjidi, but they call him Doctor Batman. He's an Indian guy, and he's like a water aficionado. Like this guy knows everything about how to heal yourself with water. So you know you can YouTube him as well, and he has a book called The Many Your Body Is Not Sick, It's Thirsty, or something like that. And you know you just keep yourself in that zone of fasting and of water consumption, and it'll be really easy. You know, like I'm not having a hard time with this fast at all. You know, maybe the first day or two there was some headaches, some lightheadedness, but you know, that's just the body telling you that, you know, you need to purge and just take it easy. It's like when you get a cold, you know, it's not a bad thing. We're taught that having a cold is like, you know, you might as well just, you know, like you have pneumonia or something. And that's not the truth. It's just the body's way of saying, hey, slow down. You know, I need to expel some of these, you know, the harmful bacteria right now. You know, and it's the same thing with fasting. The headache is just a sign that, first of all, your body's thanking you. And then you know, all you got to do is just get through it. And after a couple of days, and I don't mean ongoing, but after a couple of days, you're fine. You know, you just go along with the protocol, and next thing you know, you've reached your goal.
Absolutely, absolutely. One thing that I wanted to add to um, the detox element of the fast is that we were talking about the other day about enemas, and we were talking about you know, other ways to help with the body to detox with this water fast. Another thing that folks can implement is dry skin brushing, which I think we did mention it in regards to massaging your arms and moving your lymphatic fluid through your system. And dry skin brushing is one of those modalities. It was mentioned in this article that I posted. And also breathing exercises to enhance the body's ability to detox through both the skin and the lungs. It says here, as cleansing of the body progresses, there develops a natural aversion to unhealthful substances, not just inferior foods, but also alcohol and tobacco. And so one thing I did experience when fasting before is, like I said, it's like a recalibration. When you get off track, and my biggest get off track thing, like everyone has their what gets them off track. For some it could be you know, processed foods. For some it could be alcohol. For some people it could be different things. For me it's sugary sweet things. And I never really had, well, maybe I'm in denial. I never thought I had a sugar issue at all. But I realize I really actually do. You know, like I literally, I'm going to tell you how bad it is. Hold on, my 6-year-old is in play mode right now. I really, my sugar addiction is so bad. Like this is not lately, but I used to eat sugar out the bowl, brown sugar. I used to take a spoonful and just put it in my mouth, and I loved it. I thought it was like candy. But that's to me hardcore. You know what I mean? So, son, be quiet. So, you know, I realized that to me it's like crack. It's a serious addiction, you know, and that's when I realized like my teeth have suffered because of my sugar consumption in that form. I mean, I used to do that like once a day, and that was my, and before that, I had my little ways of how I got my sugar. And when I was pregnant with my son, I every single day I had a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sometimes I would have, like every day I would have one pack, so it was two. And then sometimes I would even have two packs. And I had it every day of my pregnancy. And then as soon as I had him, I stopped because I was like, this is ridiculous. But funny thing about that is his favorite food is peanut butter and chocolate.
Peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so helping to cleanse your palate and cleanse your addiction, it kind of subsides the addiction because the craving is relieved because you're not, first of all, you're not taking it, and your body gets a chance to relax its need for it. In other words, the more you consume it, the more your body wants it. So by fasting, you're not consuming it, so your body is releasing its need for it. That's how I look at it. Van, I see Claire.
Yeah, I think Claire's on.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, I was just gonna say about the addictions, right? I feel like, just as we're all confessing things, that I feel like not looking at it, but I could be addicted to salt, and that's not cool. And I noticed today I started getting cramps in my legs, and I think that could be due to too much salt intake. So I don't know. I mean, it's often like, even though it's sea salt, like it used to be just, the iodized salt, just can't stand it anymore now. But I'd often like, and seasonings, you got to be careful what's in the seasonings too. And like, what you're saying with Sugar Sky, like there's sugar's pretty much in everything, which is crazy.
Yeah, um if I could chime in. Can you hear me? Hold on.
Yes, I can hear you. I'm just
Oh,
muted.
okay. Yeah, okay. Um yeah, as I was yeah, as both of you were saying, like I'll address Claire's first. Yeah, the sugar, I mean the salt thing, well our body, we're supposed to have salt. We're supposed to have salt, but sea salt. So I know you said that usually you do eat the sea salt, and which is good. But here's the thing: your legs could be cramping, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but maybe it's because of the cardio things that you were doing. I'm only guessing. I only, because during a fast, like I would recommend you don't do any sort of exercise like that. Like this is a time to just like woosah, This is a time to just relax and just, go in, not go out. And when you're exercising, in my view, you're expelling a lot of energy, and your body's going to tell you that too, because this is not a time to really go in like that, you know. So maybe that's what it is. I mean, sea salt, once you come off the fast, I mean, when I come off the fast, when I make my salads or whatever I'm eating, it's going to be topped with, some sea salt, because we're supposed to have salt. It's a misconception that salt gives us high blood pressure. Yeah, table salt probably does, because it's a derivative of petroleum, so that can't be good for you anyway. So, that's a whole different issue. And then the whole thing, Sky, that you were talking about the sugar addiction. I know a lot of people that eat sugar out of. I used to know a girl, I used to date a girl that used to eat packets of sugar like it was breath mints. I mean, throughout the day, and her teeth were rotten at some point.
Yeah, that I'm definitely working on some teeth issues. I've had, oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I have like 7 cavities in my mouth right now that I'm taking care of one by one. It's terrible.
Of course,
I think you're breaking up. Can you
To
repeat?
do that, that's what it does. First thing it does, it destroys
Van, can you repeat what you're saying because you broke up a little bit? Oh darn, he dropped
Oh,
off.
yeah, dropped
Anyway,
off.
Claire, how you feeling?
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'm feeling really good actually. I've got a lot of energy, but yeah, I think he's right about the cardio. I kind of think it was just like the one day, because it's the beginning. It's still the beginning of the fast, and I don't even want to think. I'm not even this time round. I'm not even thinking like what day is it, and it's not like a race or anything. I'm just thinking, well, whatever, and I'm thinking like, I could go like in my head at the moment I'm thinking I could go like 40 days, but I don't think that's going to happen. So, because I don't really want to do that,
I
number
would
one.
love to do that actually. I in the back of my mind, I'd like to do that because my birthday would end.
Uh-huh.
My birthday is March 22nd, and from February 1st to March 22nd is actually 50 days.
Oh,
Um, I don't want to commit to that because I'm afraid to say like I'm
yeah.
gonna do till 50 days, but I would like to. So I'm just gonna do this one day at a time,
Yeah.
and like I'm going to New York in March. I'm going to St. Croix. Like I'm planning all these different things, so I can't plan it until I'm just like I said. I'm just doing this day by day. I'm doing it for sure. I'm gonna be here all day. That's about it. But I would like
Yeah.
to because my birthday is coming up, and I would love to come into my birthday as one of the great masters.
Yeah, that'd be cool,
I
huh?
I
Yeah.
think that's great.
Yeah. Did you hear what we were saying, Van? Because I know you cut off there for a minute.
Yeah, I heard the part that Sky was talking about aspiring to fast, and of course that would be great. But I also love the concept of day by day, because I think day by day you can accomplish that if it can happen. But I do know that you're coming to New York in March, and you're traveling around, and hey, if you do 30 days, I mean that's still a step up. And then I know my next goal is 40 days. After
Mm.
this, the next time I fast is going to be 40 days. I already know that. And then
Yeah.
eventually, sometime next year, I'm going to do 60 days. And that's it's not going to be a problem. It's just not. I'm already preparing myself for it. But we got cut off because I have a ghetto setup, and I only have Hangout on my phone. So I got a phone call, and it cut me off. But I think I was on the sugar thing, and interestingly enough, when we're born, what's the first thing they give you once they smack you on the ass and they give you a bottle of what? Water with what? Sugar. So
Mm.
we instantly become addicted to this drug, and sugar is the number one drug in the world. We're all addicted to sugar, all of us. And that's why it's so important that from time to time we purge our system and get as much of it out as we can and give our bodies a break. I'm addicted to sugar too. I was addicted to sugar through food. All the foods have sugar in it. I don't care what they tell you. 99 out of 100, it's got sugar in it. It's just disguised in another way. I was watching you on your page on YouTube, Sky, the other day about there was this product you had that labeled it was a fail because they had no MSG on the on the uh, on the label, but then when you read it, it clearly stated it had MSG. Well, that's what they're doing to us in every instance. All the breads have sugar, soy, everything else. I don't care what it is. The canned goods have salt, sugar, you name it. It all has sugar, and there's a reason for that. And I'm sorry, there's a reason. That's not an accident. So we're all addicted to sugar. I realized that my addiction was sweet wine. Like I would get like that big jug of Fairbanks that I put on my post, and it was the sweet taste. You know, we all are addicted to sugar from the beginning. When we're born, they give us that bottle with sugar, and they know how to calm us down with sugar. That's why it's so emotional. That's why you were eating those packs of Reese's like that, you know, and then now your son, interestingly enough, right? Like that's his favorite combination. That's not an accident. Like that's how it happens. It becomes, you know, emotional for all of us, you know, but for you to take this on is it says a lot. It says a lot.
Also, the interesting conversation about sugar is that, so like to be totally against sugar, I don't think is accurate because
Mm-mm.
literally sugar is the food that we should be eating in the sense of fruit. I think fruit is our first
Right,
food. So
right.
I think it's how it's consumed because people like I'll do something with all this fruit and people are like, oh, that's too much fruit, it's too much sugar. And the body to handle fruit. The body was created. I mean, you know, I know people hate to hear this, but we are an animal. And the bonobo chimpanzees are 98.9% identical to us. They even have sex for pleasure out of all the other animals in the animal kingdom. There's only a few besides humans that have sex for pleasure, and these are one of them. And they have a very, very close genetic composition to us. The way they handle their families, the way they communicate, the way they eat. And this book called, okay, I can't remember the name. It's going to come to me, but I know Victoria Butenko wrote it. I believe it's Green for Life or something like that. And this is when she started talking about the green smoothie. I mean, I don't think she started green smoothies, but she took it and she ran with the whole green smoothie thing. And the reason why the whole green smoothie thing is such a phenomenon is because she actually studied the bonobos, and she wrote about it. And basically, their primary diet is like 80% fruit, 10% or 20%, no, 10% green leafies, where they literally even take like leaves that they like and wrap it around their bananas, like, and they make little sandwiches. They also eat a little small percentage of grubs, you know, like they're like peanuts to them probably, but they eat a little bit of bugs and stuff like that. But the predominant part of their diet is totally fruit. It's totally fruit. They eat no fat whatsoever unless it's like an avocado or coconuts and stuff like that. But, you know, if you just look at, you know, they are fruit eaters. So we are fruit eaters. So when you look at people in the natural hygiene movement or fruitarians, it's so hard for people to get into that lifestyle because they're just in their mind, they're just like fruit is too much. But it really is our food. It is our food of choice. I don't think it's really realistic for folks to eat fruit, like 100% fruit, or, I mean, there are people who do like 80-10-10 and they eat a high fruit content. I think economically it becomes an issue because we're not hunters and gatherers and we don't have an abundance of fruit everywhere. So that's when Dr. Doug McDougall, see, this is my pastime. I just read all this stuff and I watch their videos. Dr. Doug McDougall talks about we are starchitarians, and that's why we crave starch. That's why we love it. That's why it tastes good to us, because this is our food. Everything else is good and groovy and tastes good and stuff like that. Green leafies, I mean, if you look at children and what they love, you look at what is our food, and eating starch and sugar and fruit is actually very sustainable. It's very healing too. Greens and green leafies are medicine. That's the medicine of our body. We don't need to eat it in huge abundance, but we still need to consume it. And so from my point of view, and well, not even from, it's not even my point of view. From my readings and from what makes sense to me, that's why I say my point of view. From what makes sense to me, from all the information that I've gathered, I have to go with that philosophy because it just makes sense to me. So when we talk about sugar addiction, we are strictly talking about processed sugars. Okay, even brown sugar, no matter how you cut it, is a drug. Okay, so anytime sugar is taken out of its natural element, in other words, if it's not a whole food sugar, it is a drug. And I'm sticking to that
I
story.
agree. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I didn't mean sugar. I didn't mean fruit. That's what I was. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean
No,
fruit.
I knew you didn't mean fruit. I knew you didn't mean it, but it was just a thought that I wanted you.
Yeah, no, that's true. And it's like, and like you said, like even what they call the natural brown sugars that you see on the shelf and at Starbucks and all that, that's been processed because natural brown sugar doesn't look like that. And even the stevias that you see for at market that are white, stevia is not white. Stevia is brown. And even when you dry it and you use it in its natural form, you can go to a herb shop and get stevia, and it's brown. It's not white. So when it's white, they processed it. So you have to be mindful of those things. But yeah, it's great to just keep your mindset in the form of what you're doing. If you're going to school to become a doctor, then you keep your mind on medical practices. So if you're fasting, it benefits you to read some books on fasting, as we said, and watch some videos. Go to skyjuice.com. Check out a lot of the things that Sky Juice is doing. And Sky, you mentioned something about the chimpanzees being 98 point something percent, comparable to us. So are the dolphins, Like, yeah, we are animals, and I believe we're amphibian also. I think, there's some argument we came from the sea, and, we kind of formed that way. I mean, it all depends on who you ask. But I don't totally disagree with that. I think it makes sense. And, water is just our friend, so, I mean, we can go on and on. It all depends on who you ask. There's a lot of great knowledge out there. You mentioned Victoria Botenko. You mentioned Doug, what was his name? I wrote him down, Doug McDougall. There are a lot of cats out there that have some wonderful knowledge, and something will resonate with you, something. Because there's a couple of cats. There's a dude I learned from, Christopher Aaron, when we did our last fast, Don Tolman, Tyler Tolman, Don and Tyler Tolman. Don is the father, Tyler's the son. I mean, if you go on their Facebook, you'll see a lot of great knowledge also. You can YouTube these cats, and something will resonate with you. There's a guy named Dr. Kassar who he consumes basically nothing but liquids. And you should see his body. Like, he's like in his 50s, and he's got the body of, he's got this wall of abs that I've never seen, and he's got this skin that's so elastic. And basically what he does is he consumes a lot of things like fulvic acid, shilajit, different things that he puts in his body for a purpose. And we're not in a mindset of what's best for us, because the cravings that we get is not just our body, it's those parasites too that we house. And that's why I'm fasting, because I don't want them to control me. I don't, I know we'll always have parasites, but I want to be in control of my body and not something else telling me what I need to do. So anyway, I'm rambling right now, but that's what it is. It's all love, right, Claire?
Yeah, man, it's true.
Hey, I was just going to say, Van, you were chasing up on what you were saying earlier about the wine. Do you know that the sweet wine like Moscato and what is it? I don't know, all that stuff. like dessert wine as such per se, that's actually made out of rotten grape. Because I used to work on the vineyards, and they actually have like, you know, the rotting grape, and you know it's got spiders and everything all over it, and they actually, and then it goes through a process and they ferment it, and God knows what goes into it from there. I mean it's a process, but yeah, that's what it actually is. So I find that interesting. And actually, I was gonna touch on the topic of actually ask you guys some questions about the like healthy bacteria in the stomach and stuff like that. Like, I mean, you know, people are saying nowadays, you know, oh, you know that your colt. I don't know if you know about that, like your colt, the Shirota strain. And personally, I don't have milk. Like, I cut that out. I don't even have soy now. I'll have like hazelnut milk or what is it? What's the other one? Almond milk. But I'm just wondering if you guys know much about that. You know, like sort of thing. You know, it's interesting because a lot of people nowadays are saying, you know, we have to have yogurt to actually sustain that healthy bacteria in the stomach. And I don't really believe that, but
Well, I think, you know, these are all called supplements. These are what you add to your diet. And you can get the healthy bacteria not necessarily from dairy yogurt, but you can get it from coconut milk yogurt. You can make it yourself. You can also make kombucha, which I have kombucha 24/7 here, growing, living, culturing, whatever you call it. So, yeah, I think, you know, because of the world we live in, we are so disconnected from our natural diet. You know, it's a very sanitized world we live in. I mean, just cleaning products alone in our homes, we got to keep all the germs away and all the bacteria away. And so therefore it also affects, like, I cleaned the bathroom the other day, and you know, I use this little spray bottle that's like a, you know, like a reused spray bottle, but my husband had put bleach in it, and I didn't have bleach in it the last time I used it. So I was smelling my fingers, and I was like, wow, it's here on my fingers. It's going into my skin. It's going into my system. You know, just like, you know, you just think of the ramifications of just getting bleach on your skin, because as you know, your skin is your #1 organ of absorption. So everything that's out in this sanitized, chemicalized world is also going in our system. So that's probably why people have digestion issues, because the chemicals in the environment and in the foods and in everything that we eat are also killing off the digestive enzymes and the probiotics and stuff in our system. So yes, I think it is a world we have to supplement, because you know, just things ain't normal and right like they used to be a million years ago, you know. So, but you can make your own coconut milk yogurt or your own almond milk yogurt. You can make kombucha. All of these things have the same exact bacteria, good flora as yogurt. I think people should consume it.
uh-oh, he's dropped off again. Come on, Van, come back. Sky, I was just gonna ask you. So kombucha, can you talk a bit more about that? Is that okay? Like, what actually is kombucha? I mean, it's a living organism, but like, can you elaborate a little bit?
Say it again. I had to walk away to the
No problem. No problem. I was just wondering, you know, kombucha, like we're just chatting about kombucha. And I know it's a living organism and whatnot, but can you elaborate on exactly what kombucha is? And, you know, I think you talked already about the benefits, but, you know, sort of like how it grows and whatnot.
What kombucha is. Kombucha is, I think it started more so in one of the Asian countries. I don't know if it's Japan or China. I guess I got to go read up on that. But it's from one of the Asian countries, I believe Japan. And it is basically a fermented tea. And just like, and it's more than fermented, it's cultured. So just like yogurt is cultured, and just like cabbage is cultured into sauerkraut, this tea is cultured into a fermented bio diverse kind of drink, and you can drink it. It's tasty. And vinegar is a fermented, cultured apple cider. That's why I call it apple cider vinegar. It's fermented apple cider. So you're actually creating a vinegar out of tea. So that is in essence what kombucha is. The word is, I believe it's a Japanese word. I'm going to go with that. But that's why it's beneficial. That's why apple cider vinegar is beneficial, because of the essential, things. It's more than just minerals and nutrients. It's like living cultures are in there. That's why when you do apple cider vinegar, you want to use the one that has the mother in it, has the essence of the life force in it. So kombucha is comparable. If you ferment kombucha long enough, it tastes like vinegar. So, yeah. So kombucha is essentially a fermented, a tea, a yogurt in the form of a tea.
Cool.
Yep. I know a little bit about that too. That was another thing I wanted to mention. It's like when I'm not fasting every day, I'll drink at least 16 ounces or maybe even 20 ounces of Bragg's apple cider vinegar. Just a drop, just a cap full in like a large, like say something like, where's my water jug at? What do I do with it? Oh, something like this size, which is 32 ounces. So I'll put like a cap full in this, and I'll drink that. I'll drink that, and that is your probiotic acidophilus. To me, you don't really need the dairy yogurt. That's just, I hate to be conspiratory, but that's the establishment's way of being healthy. Because, they're in on the organic revolution also. There are a lot of big companies that know that they can capitalize on the organic revolution and, the vegan revolution. There are a lot of big companies that have vegan products out. There are a lot of big companies that have bottled waters out. Pepsi has, I think, Desanti or whatever. I forget which one they have. Coca-Cola has one. Everybody has one. Because they know that's a huge market. Now everybody's going to move into the gluten-free thing, and then you're going to have a lot of huge corporations that totally go against what that's about, but they're going to have products out that say, yeah, this is gluten-free and such. Meanwhile, such and such owns it, and their whole mindset is totally against that. And believe me, they will be seeping in ingredients that totally go against what you're trying to get. So I think that dairy yogurt, I'm not trying to, start any trouble, but let's face it. I mean, it is dairy, and dairy is not the business. You can get all that from, like Scott was saying, kombucha. You can make it yourself, or you can purchase it, or you could drink, apple cider vinegar with the mother in it. Bragg's is my favorite, but there are a couple of others that are out there. That long as you see the mother, meaning that muddy looking solution, and then you shake it up. You don't want to buy it where it's just a clear vinegar, because that's processed. The process takes that out. You want it with that in it. You drink that every day, you'll feel a lot better. And not to be too much longer, but supposedly that's what made Jack LaLanne the powerhouse that he was. He was a sickly kid, and his mother and his parents took him everywhere, to every specialist they could find. No one could find anything wrong with him. He was just very frail. And then they found Paul Bragg, who is the creator. I believe he created apple cider vinegar. I don't know if he did or not, so let me not say that. But he put Jack LaLanne on a regimen of like apple cider vinegar therapy, and that just completely revamped his whole system. And then he just became this person of massive endurance and power and strength. And that's why at the age of 70-something, he swam, I think it was the Hudson, with a bunch of boats tied to his body with people in them. you know, and he could just do endless amounts of push-ups and chin-ups and the amazing feats that he did in his life. You know, apple cider vinegar for me is the truth.
Talking about the water fast, just quickly, I was thinking of actually, don't laugh, I was actually thinking of getting a beer hat, but not, of course not put beer in it, but, or one of those like backpacks with the water, you know, like more often, because I find, because it's summer here in Australia, so like I'm feeling kind of dry sometimes, and then I want to go reach for the water, and it's right there, but, you know. Anyway.
Whatever floats your boat, Claire.
I want to share about the milk industry. I don't drink milk either, but from my personal research, I hear raw milk is really good for you. There's even a movie on YouTube, on Netflix, that talks about raw milk. I think what happens again with the milk industry is the highly processed milk, which then just becomes liquid mucus, because all the essential nutrients and even the bacteria that's in it is beneficial. I don't necessarily believe in drinking milk from a cow, but I'm just saying there's a huge United States movement, maybe worldwide, but I know in the U.S., of drinking raw milk from the cow and how it heals their body of all types of things. I think what's healing them is this bacteria, is this rebalancing of our system. Our system is so sanitized with all this processed food that doesn't have any, for lack of a better word, dirt in it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know, we are so clean now, it's probably to our detriment. When I say that, like, for example, people say that when you're vegan, you're not able to get the B12 because you're not consuming foods with B12 in it. However, if you walk barefoot in the dirt, and like we are supposed to be naked in the bush, then we're getting our B12 from the soil. And then we don't have these deficiencies. So not all of eating is consuming from, you know, the food we put in our mouth. We're consuming from our skin, our feet, you know, water, beverages, you know, like there's different ways that we're getting nutrients. So that's why, you know, I think vegan is the way, but like people have said, they're getting that good bacteria from the raw milk, and they're getting some health ailments are just going completely away. But, you know, I don't advocate milk drinking, but I feel like if you're going to drink milk, drink it raw.
Yeah, I agree. That's what, just like the sugar thing, you know, like there's always the raw, and then there's the manufactured. Of course, the raw is the way, in my opinion. You know, I drink raw milk, you know. I drink what I believe is raw milk. I don't drink, you know, the regular milk. I just don't. You know, I think, like you said, it produces mucus. I've discovered that when I use a lot of those products like that, I get the phlegm. I find myself hawking and stuff like that, you know, that nasty thing that people do. And you can't quite get it out, so you end up swallowing it. Hate to be gross, but let's keep it 100. That's what happens to me. And when I get off the milk and the dairy products in abundance, like I love ice cream, and there are raw ice creams, but every now and then I love my Ben and Jerry's. You know, I'm gonna do that. You know, every now and then I'm gonna do my Breyers, you know, chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. You know, it's not all the time, but every now and then I just like those things, and I'll do it. But, you know, when I was the guy that was sitting up at night with the 5 different Ben and Jerry's, scooping one each, and this was every night, you know, with the cheesecake and the chocolate cakes and all that, I had a lot of phlegm. You know, so I believe there's something to that. But, yeah, raw milk, in my opinion, I think that's the way to go. Raw sugars, that's the way to go. You know, when it's not processed. That's just, you know, to each his own. To y'all out there, but to me, I think that, at least for me, it proves true. Raw milk is the way.
You know what's strange, Ben? You're talking about the phlegm and stuff and whatever, you know, is going on. But I've noticed that happens with like grease as well. You know, like you're having some greasy pizza or something like that, and then you start like, you know, obviously it's got cheese in it, but it's the grease as well. Whatever, if it doesn't have dairy, because I used to eat the dairy. I mean, there'd be a time I love cheese and all that thing, you know, but now I know there's alternatives. So, you know, but it's an issue, you know, for me anyway. That's what I've noticed. It's interesting.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. We all have our limit to things, you know, like the cheap pizza never seemed to affect me so much. I'm a pizza monster. You know, I could eat a whole pie by myself if I wanted to, and it doesn't seem to have any effect like that. But what affects me is the man-made dairy that gets me. You know, that's when I start feeling, have the phlegm, flare up. I know I got to do something. And like now that I'm fasting, I have none of that, none of those symptoms at all. So I know I'm doing something right. That's one of my body's indications, is the phlegm.
Exactly.
So Sky, what's up? Are we good, or you want to go on?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I think this is good for today. It was a nice conversation, and we got to meet up again this evening. Are you going to be around?
Yeah, I'm going to be around. I actually got a call for work. I'm going to be there part-time today, and I'll be on the call tonight. And tonight, one of the things I want to discuss is the difference between, we've talked about this before, but I saw a post on Sky's Wellness Center where a young lady was saying how she was using a laxative every other day to move her bowels, and I answered her that if you're consuming something you're not fasted at, the difference between fasting and dieting, there's a difference. So that's what I'm going to discuss for those that are watching, for those that watch this and want to join the call. You know, I'm going to speak a little more about that. Hey, you know, I'm not trying to say there's anything wrong with dieting or detoxing, but that's not fasting. And I just want to make that clear. There's a difference, because she was saying how she got the headaches, and when she uses the laxatives and the different things, you know, she doesn't have the headaches. And I was saying, of course not, because you're not purging, and that's kind of like what you need to do to fast, and then you'll get over it. You know, it's just a moment in time, and then you'll get over it. So I'm going to discuss that later when we resume.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, have a nice rest of your day, y'all. And I'm working on my empire, so see y'all on the next side. Peace, y'all.
Yes, peace. Thanks for joining. Thank you.
Bye for now.